So basically, our classes that we took at the conservatory can be counted as arts classes or electives if we wanted to go to a different school and just get our BFA, which means we would just have to take general eds for like a year and a half. But I don't know. My hardest class, I think, would have to be either acting or musical theater. And I say musical theater because I was into music before I got to AMDA.
Right.
And I did shows, but I just didn't understand the extent of work that you had to do to really make sure that you are the character, that you are telling the story, that you are completely and utterly invested, that it's not about you, it's about the character and their story and their journey.
Right.
And I would say learning how to tell a story and not perform and entertain was my hardest. So I would say between musical theater and acting, those were my hardest classes. That's because you had to be real. You couldn't be fake with anything that you did, and you had to live under those circumstances. And I was so used to just giving a good show that, you can get out of touch with what you really need to do, which is tell the story and to touch people's lives. So.
Yeah.
You remember, I remember the very first day that shit was about to get real, like that we were about to learn some real shit was when it comes to like being truthful. I remember Elaine wanted someone to act like a baby in the middle of the floor. You remember that? I think it was the first day.
Oh my God.
And I started acting like a
day?
Yeah, the very first day of music theater
class.
And this man started crying for real. Oh my God.
And then Mackenzie came up and she like started like coddling me, trying to like soothe me. And then Alexis came up, she's like, "You better quit crying before I give you something to cry about," or something, like, joking around. And I remember Elaine, just like after we all laughed, Elaine sat us down. She was like, "Now there's a difference." She gave us an objective, which was to get me to stop crying. Mm-hmm. And you could see the difference between people who actually tried to get me to stop crying, or who were just pretending to get me to stop crying, like to throw a joke in there or something like that. So it was like,
I didn't get up there because I was gonna go full Black Mama.
Right.
I just sat down.
Was it voluntary? You didn't have to go up there if you didn't want to?
Yeah, it was voluntary. Everything was voluntary because we didn't know the extent of how deep everything was gonna go at AMDA, because you come in, you sing, you do your placements, you get placed in all of these categories, and you walk in on the first day of class and you're expecting it to be like Fame or High School Musical, but then shit gets real. Like it gets so real. You go from coming in thinking that you can sing to leaving the class not knowing whether or not you have enough range to make it.
Yeah, that's what
I told Cody the story when Ray called me a pussy in class. Remember that?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Everybody was just so shook because Ray did not care. And it was our second semester. It was our second semester. We were about to split. So our first and second semester, you're combined with everybody that you come in with at placements, and you kind of have like a family, almost like a cast, so to speak, for the first two semesters that you work with. They've seen you at your low and your high every day. And you're about to split and go into these different groups with people you don't know, teachers you don't know, and you're just getting ready to enter a whole new world of performing, and you're not necessarily ready for it at the time. And I just remember it was like coming to the end of our second semester and everybody was stressed out. And this man just called Tyyonn a pussy in front of the whole class. Everybody was like, we were shook, like, and shook.
But see, it takes so much confidence in general to just get up there and act in front of people. I don't know if I told you, Ty, but I'm taking Acting 101 next semester.
Hey, okay.
for a core 4. I'm going to be, if we even go back next semester, but if we don't, it'll be easier. But I'm going to be very nervous going up there to act. And if my professor turned to me and called me a pussy because I couldn't act well enough, that would just diminish.
But he knew what he was doing.
He did know what he was doing, yes.
Because it wasn't that Tyyonn could not act. It was that Tyyonn was pushing himself and not staying in the scene and listening and just really being in the moment because he thought that's what he needed to do. Right. And as a young actor, you think your goal is to please the audience when your goal is really to please your partner and act with your partner and get what you want, use your tactics to get what you want from the other person in the scene. Because at the end of the day, your character still has to go on that journey. You as the actor have to be conscious of how your character is going to get there, but your character has no idea how it's going to get to the end of the show or the scene. So you just have to keep all of that in mind. And that's all that was. And then he came in the next day and he killed.
Killed. I'm telling you.
How did you have the motivation to go back? Like, I would have been like, what? Okay, maybe I'm not understanding the situation. Like, it sounds like he just called you a pussy and then just left. That's not.
No.
That's not
like it does cut class after that. Like, you know what, Tyyonn, you're a pussy. Everyone go home. I'll see you tomorrow.
Our classes were like, our acting classes second semester were like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But they went 5 fast though. That's the thing.
Our acting classes third semester became like 3.5.
Yes.
So our acting classes second semester were like, I don't know.